Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Good of you to join me. We can spend an hour or so together. And let's see who we have here. Well, right off the bat, we have a great start. we have a super chat from Carpe Diem. And as generous as always. And he says, thank you for everything, Mehran. God bless. Well, thank you very much for supporting the channel. You always do, and you embarrass us all. And I thank you again. Very kind of you for your energy and your continuous support. Now, let's see who we have here. We have Carl Bryant. Says Kia ora Mara. Oh, Kia ora, Carl. Says Carl, 28 male in New Zealand. Well, that's the second time you're here, isn't it? Or at least you've been here before. And you're welcome, New Zealanders. All wonderful Maori brothers. I hope I said it right. And Luna is here, says, Salam, dear Mehran, kaifat al-yom, she says. And I say, thank you very much. Shukran tamam. And Juanpa is here saying, Pura vida, Mehran. Pura vida to you, male 25, Costa Rica. Luna says, glad to be tuning in this evening. As always, delighted that you're here, Luna, and thank you for support. And Luna is also a member at the channel. Remember, guys, you guys can join and support the channel by being a member. And of course, you can always reach me if you need to talk to me one-on-one on my site, mindthatseekstruth.com, and make an appointment on Skype, and we'll discuss and explore together what's concerning you. Now we go to Truth on Wheels. Says, good evening from the UK, Mehran. Hello, Truth on Wheels. And I've never seen a truth not being on wheels because it's constantly changing. But I would like to see a truth on wheels. I don't know how that looks, but thank you for being here and for a fun screen name. And Luna says female 36 UK, and thank you for that. And Truth on Wheels says 32 female UK, and thank you for that. Oh, we are having a UK evening, and that's wonderful. Carl says, I hope this lockdown is worth it. I feel sorry for you guys in the UK. Yeah, well, and looks like some places in the States also going to have some lockdowns and so on. And well, we got to do what we got to do, and not everyone has been so fortunate to have such an amazing system. And Prime Minister who took such a good care of you guys all in New Zealand, and you guys did a great job getting rid of that thing. And Truth on Wheels says, I feel sorry for us too. Well, it won't be the last or the end of the madness, yeah, fortunately. And Carpe Diem says, thank you for your advice yesterday, Mehran. Many blessings, male 42, Alberta. You're quite welcome, Carpe Diem, anytime. And again, we appreciate your continuous support for the channel. And Jeffrey says, I feel like a loser. Well, join the club. We can always feel whatever we want to feel, but that's not necessarily true what we feel, is it? That's why it's called feeling. Nothing concrete. It can change any moment, and you are the boss of that. Change your thoughts, change your feelings, change your mood. Change your thoughts, change your feelings, change your mood. Remember that. That's an easy recipe to deal with that. And Wine Love says, hi, Mehran. I've been waiting to ask you for advice all week. Aha! 32 LA. You don't have to wait. You know, you can reach me on Skype if that's really urgent. You guys know that I'm here for you guys. I have Skype consultations all around the week with people around the world who needs it. So, of course, I know it might be a little bit expensive, and that is a concern, yes. But, considering the amount of time that I allocate, you will find it that is actually quite affordable than waiting for a week and suffering, which I don't want to see that. In any case, and she says, 32 Los Angeles female, says, I love your videos and I had a similar situation as one of them. My ex-fiancé and I broke up. I left him because he was a liar. And Wine Love says, what an interesting screen name. It's quite positive. You know, wine is always positively looked upon as the whole grape and the grapevine and all that, and it has its smooth and relaxing and romantic connotation. And love, well, we all are familiar with that. So she says, question, he got married to same girl in 2 months after we broke up. How do I stop questioning how he met her in my head? I keep replaying in mind if he cheated on me because he moved on so fast. And it hurts. And 2, she says, in my brain, I know I made the right decision. But seeing him normal again with his new wife makes me mad. Did I make me have anger issues he didn't have caused he knew how much I loved him and I was naive, so he took advantage of my kindness. Thanks. Well, it's a common question, other than the part that you lost me on the grammar of it. Couldn't follow, but I got the gist of it. First of all, why would you care to know if the guy how he met this girl and questioning yourself how he met this girl, you say, and I keep replaying in my mind if he cheated on me. Why would you care? I mean, the whole concept of the guy being with you and you being with him in a relationship is gone. Like, the guy is married. What more evidence do you want to have that the guy was actually not suitable to be with you in a relationship, that it was not going to work out, and most probably he was cheating on you beforehand too? But the fact that the guy has broken up is not enough for you. You got to go before the breakup, and to be okay, you got to find out if he was cheating on you or not. Look, the whole concept of a relationship is vanished, is destroyed, is gone, is non-existence, is not a question anymore. So why would it matter if how he met this girl, if he was cheating on you before? What I'm trying to say is that why are you paying attention to something before what really matters? What really matters is that you made the right decision and you broke up with the guy, and you guys are not together, or however it was. And you were right. I mean, obviously you're not crazy. You wouldn't be breaking up a relationship that was working. You had a reason for breaking it up, and that reason obviously came to be right on point. The guy got married 2 months later. What are you, sleepwalking? Obviously he was cheating. I mean, how could it not be? Oh yeah, he was in a relationship with you, but you got to know this girl so well that all he needed was 2 months to finish getting to know her. Because when you meet someone after a breakup, if it was after a breakup, you need a lot more than 2 months before you decide to get married. Unless the guy is a stupid jackass, which probably is, because he is, because if he cheated on you, which is possible because you got married so quickly after the breakup, So he's a jackass. And he's a jackass if he didn't cheat on you, but 2 months getting to know someone, he decided to marry her. Where are we? What kind of an era is this? 17th century? You meet, you marry. You broke it, you bought it, you buy it. It's what kind of a rule is? So anyway you look at it, the guy is a loser, and you made the right choice. Now you're looking back, see, oh, I made the right choice, and definitely he's not qualified, and definitely he's not of a quality that you want to be with such a guy. But you want to know if he was cheating on you or not. Whether he was cheating on you or not, you had enough reason to tell the guy, go away, I don't want to have anything to do with you. But now that you've done that and accomplished what was necessary to be accomplished, you are questioning, but was he cheating? What difference does it make? If he wasn't cheating, which you at the time you didn't know if he was, but you still made the same decision to break up with him, so meaning whether he was cheating or not wouldn't have made a difference to you. Your decision was based on the relationship and didn't know that if he was cheating or not. Your decision was not based on cheating or not. Your decision was based on lack of trust and many other things. Now that you've done what needed to be done to save your sanity and get yourself out of a bad relationship, you're questioning, was it cheating on me or not? When did he get to know this girl? Who cares? And the fact that you loved him and the guy took advantage of your love and trust and abused that trust gives you more reason to know that what you did was perfectly correct. You gotta get rid of a person who is not meeting up your standards, that you can entrust your love and emotions to the guy, that if he's ready to be in a committed relationship, or if he's going to cheat on you and create this uncertainty for no reason. I mean, we have enough things that we should deal with in life based on learning how to live with uncertainty about everything, let alone having being in a relationship that you can't even count on that. Then the hell with that. So I consider your whole question is unnecessary. So the answer to it is in the action you made already. If it was good, if it was important, if he was qualified, you wouldn't have broken up with him. The fact that you broke up with him tells you that it doesn't matter to you, that relationship doesn't matter to you. And since it doesn't matter to you, then it doesn't matter if the guy cheated or not. Because there were so many other reasons, maybe including the idea of lying and cheating, that caused you to make that decision. Once you have made that decision, there could be many other reasons that would support your decision. But who cares? All you need is one good enough reason, and you had that. So whether he cheated on you or not is irrelevant. Let's say he did. Okay, now what? Okay, he cheated on you. Or you were thinking, if he didn't cheat on me, that means he loved me. And that makes me really feel good about myself. But then, why did you break up with him then? Because it didn't matter if he cheated on you or not. You simply found him not qualified, collectively, as a whole thing. So stop asking that question. Just because a question comes to your mind, you don't have to look for an answer for it. We've all been conditioned to answer to questions so deeply that even a thought, intrusive thought, shows up and you go out to answer the question just because a question has been, like a robot. A question must be answered. No, a question, I don't give a shit. That's how you should live. Because everybody has their opinion and questions and comments about you. You're not supposed to go around and respond to every goddamn question and the comments that comes from other people around the world. And the same thing, a question shows up in your mind, in your brain, in your head. Oh, I got to answer it. To whom? Whom are you answering this question for? To the brain? Who the hell is the brain? Brain is a machine, is an apparatus, makes thoughts. And you actually stoop down to the level that you're going to answer a thought that showed up by a machine that makes thoughts, the brain. What? The brain is your leader? The brain is higher than you? You work for the brain? Or the brain works for you? You are the boss. The brain is your stooge. The brain is your servant. The brain is your tool. You're not supposed to try to prove to a thought, prove to a brain about a suggestion or question or intrusive thoughts or malfunctioning suggestion that you think, oh, I gotta answer that in order to be somebody. I gotta answer to a part of my existence in order to prove that I am who I want to be, who I think I am, who I have been, who I am. Does that make sense? It's like start talking to your foot or knee that because it has a feeling, so now you got to prove it. What feeling is this knee? Well, whatever feeling is, you hit it somewhere. Don't pay attention to it, it'll go away. Unless it's broken. Is it? It's not. Needs attention of doctor? No, it doesn't. Then leave it. So the idea that we think we gotta answer every question is the problem in life, because thoughts are the roots of all problems. They constantly are being made by the brain, and you're not responsible for any of these thoughts. So when it shows up in your head, you think you got a mandate to go and answer it. Unless I answer it, I'm no good. Why? Because the brain has suggested something. Now I got to prove to it that it is wrong, or I have to have an answer for it. For what? It's an electrical system. It's a tool up here. It does its thing. It makes thoughts. And you're going to go answer every thought that it comes up, all these intrusive thoughts. That's why we have a system to shut down intrusive thoughts. And your system right now is not working well because it doesn't shut down automatically. That means you're going to manually help it by ignoring it to shut it down. Otherwise, it keeps being in there, and you being conditioned to have to answer a question when it's posed, you're going to go after it for the next year or two. Ignore it, diss it, and show who the boss is. You are, not the brain. That's the end of that. All right. I hope that's clear for you. Wine Love. Steven says, hello, Mehran. Hello, Steven. Steven, male 40, Los Angeles. Thank you for that. Wunderbar. And Chester Sid says, male 27, Hawaii. Oh, aloha. Says, aloha, Mehran. Aloha, Chester. Mahalo. Says, a long time to see. Okay. And says, hope you're doing good. Thank you for that. Looks like Joe Biden is officially the new president of the United States of America. Yes. Yes. Yeah. I guess hopefully the world will end up having some order in United States, and as it is a strong nation, it affects its policies and behavior affects everywhere in the world, and we sure want to see it stable and sane rather than the insanity that was going on for the past 4 years, and hopefully it will be even better and better. Nick says, Tena koe matua, male 44, New Zealand, kia ora koutou. Well, kia ora to you as well, dear Nick. Good of you to be here. We always enjoy having you and your energy here. And Nick says, hi, everyone. And of course, I'm sure everyone joins me to welcome Nick and everybody else who has taken the time and joined our live stream. Truth on Wheel says, Truth on wheels is like regular truth, but more noticeable, I guess. Okay, fair enough. Dynamic truth, constantly truth, always truth, moving truth. All right. And so we have Dudley here. Says, hi again, Mehran. Male 23 US. Hello, Dudley. Dudley, it's been a while since you've been to one of these live talks, haven't it? You remember, you used to be regular, I believe. Zed Keel says, Salam Mehran Jan. Oh, you've picked up a few Farsi words. Wonderful. It says, Khoshhal hastam to be tuning in. Oh, my goodness. You nailed it. Welcome. Good to see you here, Zed Keel. And I got to introduce you, I guess. Zed Keel, what is it? Sweden? I forgot your age. Damn it, come up. Otherwise, my good friend will come and ask you the question on a different tone. So don't forget the protocol. Gender, age, and where you're tuning in from. Aman Gatpal says, I have now knowledge about what's exactly going on with me, i.e. symptoms through your videos and some other, but still my mind is stuck an illusion of I'm gay, my thoughts process being changed. And the sensation I feel physically, because I'm yet not feeling the way I normally and always used to feel. Yeah, but remember, body reacts to thoughts. And what you're feeling is something that it's a concept. When a thought shows up, whatever that thought is, if it's sexuality, then it focuses on the concept of sexuality, and then your body may react, but it's reacting to the concept of sex, not sex with what the thought is suggesting, which in your case, in HOCD cases, it's about sex with same gender. It's the concept that you're reacting to, even though the trigger of it was a unwanted thought, intrusive thought of same sex, same gender sexual thoughts. It doesn't matter what the origin or the trigger of the thought is. Whatever you react to is react to thought, and thought is introducing some words, and the word has a meaning, but then the meaning of it is not specific to that particular trigger. To you and to each person, it's associating itself with the concept of sex that is meaningful to them, which in your case is a woman. Therefore, that's what you react. Then you go back and say, oh, I reacted to this, but because the trigger was same gender thought, then you think it's a thought of a reaction to the same gender as a homosexual reaction. It's not. It's a reaction to the concept of sex. It could have been brought in by intrusive thoughts of same gender sexuality, but your reaction is not to that. Your reaction is to the concept of sex, whatever that has always been for you. So, Aman says this mind can make you believe that you are something or someone which you are not. I mean, thoughts can generate emotion. Yeah, that's right. Thoughts can generate emotion. I just explained it exactly. I think I read your mind, what question was coming in. Aman says, do I need any therapy, or can I cure this HOCD without a therapy? Depends on how fast and how accurate you want to attack that. Sometimes you are so aware and clear about the behavior of the brain, and you have educated yourself about how brain behaves and malfunctions, that it might help you to get over it on its own. And sometimes it's very important and helpful to have a specialist guide you and help you to see the separation between brain, thought, and you, and not consider yourself brain and not consider the brain to be you, to understand that there is a you, there's a me, and the brain is a tool, and whatever it conjures up, it does not involve you, it has nothing to do with you, it does not represent you, and it is not any representation of your inclination or sexuality, as your inclination or sexuality was carved in stone when you were in your mother's womb. Whatever you are born as, whichever gender you've been born as, that's how it's going to be the rest of your life. That's not going to change just because somebody said something or somebody made a comment or a thought showed up, an intrusive suggestion or images. None of that going to have anything to do with it other than making you think that this, you got to entertain this thought or this suggestion. No, you don't have to. Because whether you entertain it or you don't entertain it, nothing biologically is going to change in you because a thought showed up or a suggestion showed up. No different than you walk in the street, somebody call you anything. Somebody call you a tiger or a giraffe or an elephant. You don't become one. Or if they call you any gender that you're not, you don't become one. If your thought suggests to you that you're an elephant or a giraffe or a tiger, you don't become one. If a thought suggests that you're a gender that you're not, you don't become one. But the funny thing is, because sexuality of ours is how we identify ourselves, and it's so important to us, if there is a certain kind of a suggestion or attack on it, on what we've always been and we prefer to be, we become very sensitive about it and we want to protect it. We put so much attention on it, and that leads into all other kind of rabbit holes of thoughts, and then you want to prove to thoughts that you are what you are because it's very important for you to make the whole world know that you are who you are because that's what you want to be, that's who you've always been, and you go on defending it, which there is no reason to defend anything. You are who you are. And you are what you are. Nothing can change that. The suggestion that it can be changed is bogus. Not trying to prove to it that, oh, no, you're wrong. Oh, I'm not. Of course you're not. But the brain, as I've explained it in many of my videos, including the two playlists, Intrusive OCD, HOCD short videos, and Intrusive Transient OCD, HOCD negative thoughts. If you watch these two playlists, there are a number of videos on them, you will have enough information to know what the hell is going on, and you're being duped into entertaining something that doesn't even exist. And below in the description of all those videos, you have links of many specialists like Dr. Schwartz, Dr. Philipson, Dr. Jan Weiner, and many scientists, Dr. Owen, and many other that have expressed and explained this in medical sense for you what this is, and help you to understand that your gender doesn't change. This is how the brain works and doesn't work, functions and malfunctions. And using the scientific data and experiments in the laboratories and researchers, I have been able to incorporate that in my presentations in the videos, and you will get quite a bit of information, the collective videos and the links that I've provided with the specialists and so on. So, there we go. Archit Raj says, all right, Archit is talking to Aman. Archit, I don't understand your question. Maybe you want to repeat that for me in a little bit more elaborate way. So I'll get back to your question because it's not clear for me. And T is asking, remember guys, I won't respond to the questions that I don't have enough information as far as clarity of the information. At the same time, most important is I got to know who you are, your gender, your age, where you're tuning in from. These are the minimum information I need to know what kind of age you have, should you be here or not. Do you have your parents, if you're very young, permission to be here? And I also want to know your gender so I know what is appropriate and how to discuss matters. And at the same time, knowing where you're tuning in from gives me a little bit of a background, cultural background, so that helps me in delivering my responses to your questions. So when I don't see that, I'll jump to the next question. So T, I don't see that, so I'm going to jump to Truth on Wheels. Truth on Wheels says, how do you remove past painful events that happen in relationships from your mind when they start to come back to cause distress? Well, you got to focus on why are you distressed for something that doesn't exist? The whole relationship is no longer exist. So what are you worried about what happened in it? So what? It happened, it doesn't exist, and whatever happened doesn't exist. Now, unless I know exactly what it was, I can't necessarily have a general formula for it. But if we know exactly what it is, then we can discuss how it affected you, why it affected you, how you can analyze it for yourself, and come to certain kind of a understanding that why it doesn't matter anymore. And to understand that what is in reality is only what is now, your efforts, what you're involved in. Whatever it was in the past is dead. So when it's dead, it can never bother you again. The memory of it is there, but memory will help us so we won't get stuck and fall into the same trap or allow to get the same kind of treatment because we have this memory of something that has happened and we learned from it. If you handled it well, great. If you didn't handle it well, you learn from it and you see the difference, and you'd be ready if ever such thing happens to come around you, and you will be handling it better this time. So the memory of it should be able to represent knowledge and education and awareness for you rather than a point of pain, because you're not focusing on the memory, you're focusing on as if you are at the time and space when the memory was taking place. You have to recognize that nothing threatens you anymore. That is like a movie you're rewatching, but there is no teeth to it. There is no actuality to it. It's like a memory of you cut yourself with a knife while you were, I don't know, cutting carrots. The memory of it may make you feel, ow, I got to be careful. But if you come to the now, you see there is no such threat. There's no carrots, there's no knife, there's no nothing. And everything is safe. So focus on the now, and you wouldn't have to worry about the past, because the past itself, it doesn't exist. That time doesn't exist, let alone whatever happened in it. So there are no threats. There is nothing that could have actually left a residue in you, unless you keep trying to live the now while you have the memory of the past coming along. You just leave them where they are. And how? By focusing on what is actuality in front of you. If you focus on the steps that you're making right now, you will have a lesser chance to fall. If you constantly, while you're walking now forward, focusing on last week on stairs when you were walking, then you will miss your step here and you may fall here. So it's only interference that is the threat, not to let you to be safe in this walk today. But if you bring your mind out of last week's experiences out of your memory that you're thinking about this particular case, bring your mind out of that and focus it on what it is in the actuality of the moment, then you will never have to worry about that, whatever it was that happened in the past, to bother you or traumatize you or interfere with your life, because your focus is here. As long as your focus is here, nothing else exists. It's like if you're in a museum, Louvre Museum of Paris. When you look at Mona Lisa, it's there. When you don't look at it, look at another painting, it's like Mona Lisa painting doesn't exist because your focus is somewhere else. When your focus is somewhere else, that whatever it was, ugly or pretty, doesn't matter, because you're shining a light, your attention is a something else that you're actually involved in that moment in time. So bring your thoughts, bring your mind, bring your presence, mind and body, to the actual moment of the now. Then whatever it was in the past wouldn't be under your surveillance, wouldn't be focused on, and it is exactly, shows you what it is, which is non-existence. All right. Unfortunately, we can't go on too long for every question. That's why I cut it short and try to shorten the answers. Otherwise, it could be elaborate discussions, and I could, if I have more details, of course, it would be a longer discussion on that subject. So I don't mean to cut you guys short or short sell you, but I need to keep it going. So otherwise, every one of your questions could be, I don't know, a few hours discussion. Chinmay says, sir, how do I take a loss? Manly, just take a loss. It's not about how to take a loss. It's a loss. It's not there, whatever it is. Oh, I know what you're going to say. You're going to come back and tell me about the girlfriend that you're not with, and you consider that a loss. Why do you think it's a loss? Maybe it's a gain. Probably is. Because whatever you don't have is not a gain, and your focus should be on the gains. The fact that the loss seems to be a gain is because you're focusing on it. A loss is a loss. Don't focus on it, then you will know that it didn't worth anything for your attention, because it's not a gain. It's not yours. What's not yours, you shouldn't pay attention to it. And then the loss will disappear as leaving a residue and impression of loss in your mind. It will just leave an impression of, now I have an opportunity to gain, because my focus is not on what is not the loss. My focus is on trying to gain and accomplish something. That's what you should be doing. Loss is only a loss as long as you focus on it. Whatever happened, you won a game or not win a game, or championship or competition or a girlfriend or relationship, whatever it was, is no longer. Then the focus on getting something happening, then that loss doesn't seem to be of importance or in existence. But as long as you focus on it, you think the loss is something that you're actually being confronted with. No. Loss means good ridden. Loss means opportunity to gain now. Loss means the rope of the boat is cut from the dock and you have an opportunity to row and go to explore the ocean. That's what it means. Otherwise, you want to keep looking at, oh, it's a loss. So what does that mean? It's a loss. You don't have this, and you don't have an opportunity to go forward and get something that it is you're looking for. So loss is only as long as you pay attention to it. Otherwise, non-existence. Says, I thought very highly of myself, but my teammate received the applause and I was overshadowed. So big fucking deal. What's the worth of the people that actually gave the applause? What is it gonna give you? You gotta be able to bring that feeling that you're hoping to get from people's applause and affirmation. You're supposed to be an expert into giving that feeling to yourself, by your accomplishments, by your focus on life, by building your life. Focus on the real essence and value that you're creating in life, not whose opinion about what you've done is going to give value to what you've done. What you've done is the value, not the opinion and the reaction of the people to what you've done. The value is in what you have accomplished, what the effort that you've made, not in who clapped for you. That's bullshit. That's fooling yourself. So nothing has been taken away, overshadowed for what? Overshadowed what? This? Here. I give it to you. What's the meaning of it? What's the meaning of what I just did? The meaning is what you have accomplished. You already have that. You can't lose that. Nobody can take that away from you. But you have diminished all of that to a bunch of people did this. Somebody else got the bow. Big fucking deal. Grow up. Grow up and don't be so weak on these subjects of this. Tomorrow somebody claps for you, to the next day they don't. So you're going to go up and down? Change your name to Yo-Yo then. You can't be subjected to people's affirmations and opinions. You're subjected to your actions and what you produce in this life, what changes and what difference you make to life and to other people's lives and to your own lives, how you handle challenges, how you handle misfortunes, how you handle the biggest challenge that you have in your life, which is you're dealing with it with this question, which is a thought that is created in your head. The thought that has popped up in your head that is suggesting to you that you have lost the value of what you've done because people clapped and somebody else got the benefit of it and you were overshadowed. That's what you should be focusing on to be able to handle. That's where you find your values. Ability to deal with the garbage that the brain suggests and you run for it. It suggests you were overshadowed, so you have been devalued. You lost the opportunity and you believe it. Oh, yes, yes. What is this garbage talking about? Just tell the brain, just simmer down, shut up. I'm the boss. I'm satisfied with what I've done. I'm pleased with the value I've received. The value that I receive is not in people's, it's in what I do in this life. There you go. Thank you, Chinmay. Take good care of yourself. And hopefully that was helpful to you. Zedkill says Sweden 27. Male says both my parents are from Iran. I'm born in Sweden, but I'm ethnically 100% Persian. Oh, interesting. Interesting. You're in the land of beautiful girls. Sweden. No shortage of that there, that's for sure. Sean Duran says, hi Mehran, Sean 21 UK. Thank you for your advice. You've really helped me lately. I get anxiety sensation in my head, like electric shocks and pressure sensations in my head. How can I deal with this? Meditate. Meditate. You're too focused on the bullshit that is going on in the head, and none of them mean anything, and none of them have any actuality or power. But you're getting in the habit of focusing and paying attention to the garbage. So you need to calm that anxiety. And as I explained in the videos that I uploaded and released this morning at 7 a.m., I don't know if you've had the chance to look at it. It says depression, anxiety, and your breathing. And this is very important topic. And it's a kind of a shortcut to get yourself out of the groove that is being created when you linger in the moment of depression and anxiety. Look, don't forget we all have this very important capabilities of neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity works in both ways. Make you good at the good stuff that you want to be expert in, and make you good at the bad behaviors and habits that you could bring about. The more you linger and the more you do this same thing, something, the ability of the brain to rewire itself through neuroplasticity is going to be true for all of it. And then you will become pretty good at that, whatever it is that you're doing lots of. If you're thinking about garbage, you become really good at that, and that becomes your habit. And once something becomes your habit, it becomes difficult to get rid of it. More difficult before it becomes a habit. That's why it's very important for you to understand that anxiety and depression should be dealt with every chance you get in order to jolt it out of its place and not give it a chance to create a rot and become part of the rewiring of the brain and get you actually to become an expert to become depressed and stay with anxiety. You got to be able to change that moment that anxiety is active or depression wants to set in. There are many ways for that. Of course, you're all aware that I'm not a doctor and I'm not a psychologist. And for any kind of a serious concern about depression, anxiety, and so forth, you will talk to your doctor and psychologist, psychotherapists, and under their guidance and get your well-being and mental health back. Having said that and trust that you will do that, well, here generally I discuss ways that you can help yourself if it's, at any corner that you feel the anxiety or the depression. You should remember the first chance that you get is not to allow anxiety and depression become a part of the neuroplasticity and rewiring your brain by allowing them to have a chance to linger. So any chance you get, you kick that habit out and get yourself out of that groove so it won't become a habit. Now, one of the things that you should understand is that breathing is very, very important. Beside the fact that meditation and so on, that we'll talk about it in a second, but I want to focus at this moment on I guess the word these days is a hack for getting yourself out of the anxiety or the depression mode by a little bit of a help from science. Something that you do all day long is breathing, and we take it for granted, and we think breathing is to bring oxygen in. Well, true. And to get the CO2 out. Well, true. And to get the system work, and all that, true. But breathing also can be helpful in many other aspects of our life. One is to affect the movement and the function of the brain to calibrate it to where you want it to be if it has derailed itself and it's engaged into useless activities. In other words, when the brain gets into the anxiety mode or depression mode, if you allow it to stay there, it would be like you walk around a dirt surface, round and round and round and round. After a while, you will see that there is a rot created under your feet, impressions that you leave by walking. And it gets deeper and deeper the more you go round and round. That's where the scientists, in extreme cases for depression and anxiety and so on, they use electric shocks or they introduce a certain kind of implants to stimulate and give shock to certain part of the brain, which involves the neurons, and get that patient out of that mode. Now, similar to this, as a concept of jolting the brain to get out of its rut and get back to normal functioning, a similar action is being discussed by the scientists that could be resulted by the use of breathing, which could help to jolt the brain to get out of the beginning of the rot or the depression of the or the anxiety that it may fall into from time to time. How that works is this: you have a system that scientists have discovered that is called pre-Butzinger complex. Pre-Butzinger complex is the system of your normal breathing. You breathe in. That's a normal way of breathing. But then there's another system called parafacial nuclei. Parafacial nuclei system is a system that is kind of between autonomic, like automatic breathing, and also allow you to interfere with it and make it a little bit deviation, manual. In other words, breathing system is involuntarily. It does its job. And lungs are the only part of your body that is involuntarily behavior and function can be manipulated. Because like in digestion, which is involuntary, you can't manipulate it. You can't, it's very involved and so on. And many other things like heartbeat, hardly you can interfere with it. These are all involuntary system. But the lungs breathing is involuntarily as long as it relates to pre-Butzinger complex, which is the name that the scientists have given to this particular system of breathing. But this other system, the parafacial nuclei, you can manipulate your breathing and change it. Remember when you're crying, you breathe differently? That is your ability to change the breathing from the first system of the normal long breathing, pre-Butzinger complex, and to go into the other system of breathing and change that rhythm while you're crying or while you're somehow you sigh. Every few minutes you sigh anyhow, and that is not the pre-Butzinger complex system. It's the other one that allows you to do that out of the program that it has to breathe in a certain way. You change its rhythm. Changing the rhythm of the breathing in the way that I'm going to describe is going to, you see your lungs, you've got lungs here, but there are lots of little balloons in the lungs that they take the oxygen and they do the exchange with the CO2 and all that. And in your breathing, they eventually collapse. So when they are at the collapse and when you change your breathing rhythm, you actually cause them to fill up oxygen out of turn and then exchange with CO2, and that itself brings a different state in your mind, in your brain. And when you change that state, it actually affects the behavior of the brain inwardly in the brain, which then brings a certain kind of a balance and kicks that depression or that anxiety out for that moment very quickly. For example, just try it now. You know you're breathing like this. But see what happens to your brain when you do this. There's certain amount of extraordinary calmness creates. It changes the whole anxiety. Like from the anxiety, you find that certainty, that assurance, that no anxiety kind of leaves you by simply changing the rhythm of your breathing, as I explained and showed you, because the breathing has all these systems. When when this type of breathing is exercised, it affects so many different stimuli in the brain, which then it changes its behavior. It's like the getting you out of the rut that you were in. It's like the little shock that that is being administered to severe cases, but you create that without any of the, with ease, and cause the same kind of a calmness and balance back from the anxiety and the depression. So when you feel in that such a groove that you just explained, who was it who asked the question anyhow? I think it was, forgot who it was. So you can do this, as I explained, and you will see that your anxiety level diminishes if it doesn't go away right away. And that, the reason I'm bringing this up is that that hack, that getting yourself out, that jolt that we just described by the rhythm of the breathing, will give you enough momentum to not feel anxious and not feel depressed, and give you enough momentum to start doing some activity, whether it is to clean your home, or whether it's to go play sports, whether it's to go take a walk, or whether it's to, I don't know, play chess or play a game, something that gives you the motivation of not sitting on your ass and not doing anything, getting out of the house, or getting to do the things that you think and you know you should be doing, rather than feeling depressed and allowing in this depression or anxiety feeling to stay with you and then create that rut, and you go deeper and deeper. When you go deeper in anxiety and depression, you will not have that momentum that you need to get out of it, because you don't even feel like doing any of the things that is going to be helpful to get you out of the depression or anxiety mode. So that's why it's important, right at the time that you feel anxious or you feel depressed, do something in order to give yourself a momentum to start doing something positive. So you won't allow it to sit in and get you sitting, and then actually get situated and install its claws into you and your life. So that jolt is always available to you through that breathing, changing the breathing rhythm, as I explained, which gives you that momentum that you need, the opening, the window. They say, I feel good now, I can do things, and start doing things. And once you start doing things, the locomotive starts moving, and the depression and anxiety won't get a chance to come back up, because you become the prevalent power there. I hope I explained that as good as it needed to be, and I hope that it makes sense to you. I've uploaded 2 videos this morning that explains this whole thing in a longer version. One of them is, I guess, 17 minutes or 14 minutes. The other one is 18, 19 minutes, and explains you how to do this. So I hope that would be helpful to you. I think that was Sean Duran who asked that question. Elijah Stanek says, when I have been like 13 or 14 years old. Elijah, I need to know your age now, your gender now, where you're tuning in from. So if I don't have that, guys, I got to move on and get back to you when I have that. Thank you, Stephen, for becoming a serious member of the channel. And remember, guys, we still haven't received any registration for maximum 10 people live stream on Zoom tomorrow. The idea was that we would have a limited number of people, which could be, I would send a link to Zoom meeting, and that would be live streaming for those 10 people. Duration would be 2 hours. And then the 10 people would be the only 10 in that live stream. And we suggested that the ones who are members that have joined the channel, they would have a discount of 50%. In other words, non-members could join for $50, but members will join in for $25. And they would be there for the duration at least 2 hours. If we go over, we go over. But the idea is for it to be 2 hours. And so anyone who wants to participate, that will be tomorrow at 1 p.m. Tomorrow at 1 p.m. Actually, maybe we can make it at 12. We started early. Tomorrow at 12 noon. Tomorrow at 12 noon. But provided we receive 10 people, we must have 10 people. Otherwise, we will move it to the next week or next opportunity. So anybody who's interested can go on my site or go on PayPal and use my email and register by sending the $25 and md007m at gmail.com. I put it down here. That's the email that you can, because I don't have a button. Soon I'll have a button on the site that you can, it says Zoom meeting, live streaming, and then it will take you to PayPal and you pay the fee that is going to be put on the site, how much that is going to be. But for now, because it's the first one, we don't have that button. My programmer is working on it, and whenever it's ready, we have it. But in the meantime, we can have our Zoom meetings provided that we have the registration. When it's come to me, I'll see whose name it is, and we'll see that it's $25 if they're members of the channel. If it's $50 if they're not members, then we'll know that they're registered. Then on that note, I will send a link to whoever has registered, and then we can have the Zoom meeting on a specific date. So far, we have not received any registration other than one, and unless we have another 9, then we will move that to next week. So this is the new service that I'm having for the people who want to have longer discussions, more focused discussion on their situations rather than the short responses here among the many. All right. Steven says, so last Sunday I asked that girl out, but because of her 2 college classes and full-time work, she's only free Tuesdays. It was her sister's birthday, so she couldn't, so I told her next time. Everything is going well with her. I want to ask her out again this week. If she can't, I won't get upset. But I think I'll back up a bit and let her ask me now. Yeah, good idea. You've already thrown the line and asked her out, and she was busy due to whatever she was doing. She remembers that. She remembers you asked. She remembers she couldn't accept. So now it is her turn to say, by the way, I don't have anything to do you still want to go out, type of thing. Then you, of course, respond and you say, no, sorry, it was only then. No, you will say what it is that you want to say. And and let her ask me now, since she pulled away and came back. I feel like if I have sex with her soon, it'll bring us closer together. I've had sex with her close to 10 times, but that was in the beginning of the relationship, and I've only been seeing her for a few months. What do you think, Mehran? Just lay back. Don't focus on sex. Focus on, I wanted to be in a position that we're both equal, rather than, you constantly chasing her and she feels the chase, and then she kind of feels like there's no reason for her to chase you because you're chasing her. And people get empowered when they're being chased. And if you don't chase them, they may feel like, oh, where's the chase? So maybe I should chase her, or, she should chase you. So just as you said, do your thing, be just how you are. Don't be resentful or anything. Be cordial and nice as you've always been. And just wait for her to mention something. Don't bring it up now. I don't care how long it takes, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, doesn't matter. Don't allow that desire for sex mess up your whole interaction with her and make you weak to the point that you can't really see if she's qualified, if she's doing the right things, if she's treating you right or not, and only focus on, I don't care what, I just want sex, and then therefore you just miss all the things that are important in building a relationship, which should be from both sides' efforts rather than just your pursuit. And Truth on Wheels says, thank you, Mehran. You explain things in such a unique and fantastic way that really gets through to me and helps me make sense of things and begin to make peace with past events. You're brilliant. Thank you very much, Truth on Wheels. It's a mouthful trying to say your name. I'm delighted that you're enjoying the content. And Chris Crawford says, Chris, male 29, England. Nice new mug for your team, Aaron. Yes, Chris, this is a gift from my son. And this thing, if you're not careful, it can burn your mouth thinking that you poured the hot water into this an hour ago and it should be okay now. But no, 2 hours from now, this thing is still hot. If you don't want it to be hot, you gotta take the lid off and take the lid away, and then it will function properly as far as, within 20 minutes it starts getting cooler and so on. But if you put the lid on, that thing is going to keep it warm for God knows how long. So when it reaches a perfect temperature for me, I put the lid on, because then for the next hour that temperature stays pretty much the same. So then I don't have to rush drinking it. You see, it's 1 hour 17 minutes after our beginning of our live stream. It's still wonderfully perfect temperature. Lovely. Yeti cup. You all know Yeti cup. It's very famous now in the world. They've done a good job with their cups. So Steven says, a female friend of mine invited me out tonight to introduce me to her friend. I decided to just go out, have a few drinks, and just go to have a good time. Absolutely. I feel like I need to meet other women so I can take the focus off of just one girl. Yes, definitely. If that one girl, hear me out, if that one girl is not reciprocating enough, strong enough, it's not in the same level of reciprocation that you expect, let's say, while you have already expressed enough attention and enough signals to her that she knows where you stand, she knows that you like her and all that, but still not making the necessary efforts to show you and reciprocate that she's also in the same range. Even if she is, but she doesn't want to show it, that's not good enough, because you can't read mind. If she doesn't show it, then you have all the rights to go out and meet other women and not necessarily do anything sexual, unless it's really called for or deep enough relationship. But you have the right to create that atmosphere around you, so it will give you enough confidence and assurance about yourself, so you won't be so desperate on making sure she will continue finding you interesting. And once you have this outing, provided that your counterpart, I guess, provided that your girlfriend, in your case, is not showing the kind of dedication or time or interest that you expect, or it should be based on the level of interest you have. If she's doing what a normal couple will do, and the interest is there, and the loyalty is there, and dedication and time is invested, and all that, then no, I wouldn't suggest you to go out with other girls. But if she's not, and she's not giving you that assurance or attention, then you're okay to go out and have fun with friends. And if she asks, says, well, I just felt like that you've lost interest, and I don't want to get hurt, or I don't want to just sit around and wait and see what your decision is. My decision has been clear, but you are going back and forth, so I thought I'll just leave you alone and respect your selection or choices, and I take care of my emotional needs. That's it. No more. Not any threat of breakup or anything like that, but that's all right. But anyhow, don't make a big deal out of it. Yeah, go out and have fun, and that's fine. And go and see who they are. Don't look at them as a candidate for girlfriend. Just look at them as a friend. Your friend wants to introduce her friend to you, so you're going to go and see how it is and have a laugh. Don't try to, seal the deal by impressing her so much, whoever it is. Just be yourself, have fun, and be friends. That's all. And the good thing is that you already have a relationship, sort of, so you don't have to really be too desperate to entertain the ones that you're going to go out with tonight either. So you use the fact that you're in a relationship against them, and the fact that you're with them makes you feel good about if your girlfriend, or so to speak girlfriend, doesn't show you enough attention. And let's see what else we have here. Elijah Stanix is 29-year-old male. And where from, Elijah? What's wrong with you? Give me the whole info. Give me the info. Throw me the bone, as Dr. Evil used to say. And he says, what are you doing, Monzizaki? Are you promoting a religion here? Well, I don't understand. If you want to promote your religion, I mean, that's not the place for it. However you deal with your life, it's good. If religion works for you, great. But that's it. All right, let's move on to Fariha Mustafa. Says, hi, Miran. I watched all your videos on HOCD, and it has helped tremendously. Every time it comes, I call it out and just let it be and ignore it, but I still get bad anxiety sometimes. Is it healing? Well, remember, guys, there are techniques and there are ways to understand the malfunction of the brain, and when you become educated as far as being able to see it clear that there is a separation between brain, thoughts, and you. There is a me, there is a you, and then there is brain, and what brain produces, which is got nothing to do with you, which is thoughts. And you're not supposed to be responsive to thoughts. There's a thought that is your thought, and those are thoughts that you purposely pick up some information from your consciousness and use it to learn something, calculate something, modify something, produce something, design something, accomplish something. delivers something that is your thinking, your thoughts. But then brain is also creating thoughts on its own and unbeknown to you, not having anything to do with you. Those are not your thoughts. And most of the thoughts in our lifetime, it's not ours, it's the brain's part. We know which ones are our thoughts, the ones that we are engaged trying to figure out something. But the ones that we were not involved are also created and pop up in the same screen as our own thoughts does, but that's not our thoughts. It's like we are like a theater that anybody brings their video and shoves it in and it plays it. But just because a video was put in, just because a thought has showed up on our screen of our head, that doesn't mean that video belongs to me. That doesn't mean that that thought is my thought. It's not. It's the brain side. Somebody else put that thought. It could be other people's suggestion, other people's uttering, other people's opinions, or the brain's uttering or suggestion or images or opinion. It's still separated from you. As separated these thoughts are from the brain as other people's opinion about you or uttering. Just as far. If you understand this separation, then you will not give so much value or so much attention at all, if any, to any of these thoughts, because you understand it's a thought popping up out of your brain is no different than somebody else uttering something in the street. You treat it as something from outside. Doesn't involve me. It's not my opinion. It's not me. It's not pertaining me. Same thing when a brain creates and pops up intrusive thoughts about any topics, OCD, subsets of OCD, pedophilia OCD, homosexual OCD, religious OCD, any kind of OCD, you treat it the same. It's outside of me. It's got nothing to do with me. Why? Because you have understood the mechanism and how you're put together and what apparatuses have been added to you, because there was a you and there was apparatuses adding up to give you instruments to facilitate whatever it is you want to accomplish and do in this life. One of those things is a brain. But what brain manufactures, as it's a machine to manufacture thoughts, it doesn't represent you, what it manufactures. You have to understand this. Once you understood this, then you add this to it. I don't care who says what. I don't care how many different products are in the shelves of the bazaar or the supermarket that I go in. I have a choice. I don't have to buy anything that is on the shelves or is presented to me by the salespeople. I make the choice. I am in power to choose. And when it comes to your sexuality, you've chosen, or you choose. Doesn't matter what thought shows up, what suggestion, what images, 1,000,000 times. You still are in power to choose. Your choice. You're heterosexual? You want to be heterosexual? You love to be heterosexual? Then it doesn't matter how many million times images, suggestions, and bullshit intrusive thoughts happens into your head. Your choice is being heterosexual. Your choice is liking, loving women, because you do. It doesn't matter what brains introduces. You choose. And your choice of your lifestyle, inclination, is all that matters. So you have the total power. First, understanding the separation between brain, thoughts, and you clearly. And I've got a ton of videos on the playlist, Intrusive OCD, HOCD short videos, and elaboration of the data hunting and meaning of thoughts and all that, which is not necessarily, but I have that all covered up in a different playlist, Intrusive, Transient, OCD, HOCD, Negative Thoughts. And then I have links of all specialists, such as Dr. Schwartz, Dr. Philipson, Dr. Jan Rayner, Dr. Owens, and many other scientists in the field of OCD and the neuroscience of habits and all the other subsets of OCD, that they explain to you clearly and scientifically the brain's function and malfunctions and how it works and how it doesn't work. When you clear yourself from the understanding of the separation of brain thoughts and you understand that you're the selector, not the follower of what brain conjures up, intrusive or otherwise, you are the owner of this entity with all its faculties in it. Brain or whatever else that is there to serve you. When you understand this separation and then understand clearly that you are the only power on this earth that can choose what he likes to be, what he is, what he wants to be, and what he's been, and he wants to continue being, and he will always be, and plus that he has the backing of the science of gender doesn't change, however you've been built and created in the wombs of your mother, whatever gender you have been created as, that's how you're going to be the rest of your life. So no matter what kind of thought shows up, it's irrelevant. It's meaningless. It's just going to create these reaction of answering a thought. Don't answer a thought. Brain is an idiot. Just makes thoughts. You're not supposed to run around, try to prove to it or answer it or entertain it or pay attention to what it says. You pay attention to who you are, what you want to be, what your choice is, and the fact that the brain, thoughts, and you are separated. And there's tremendous number of evidence and discussions about helping you to see that clearly in the videos and so on. So as long as you understand that, the rest of it is nonsense. Thoughts can come and go. Every time the thought shows up, you're supposed to be what? Changing gender? Or what? The chances of you changing gender is the same as if you think that you're a elephant and you become an elephant. Or you're a tiger and you become a tiger. That never happens because it's about chromosomes. You have a human chromosome, and in humanity, you have a chromosome that decided your gender in the wombs of your mother. And that's how you've been living and experiencing life. And that's how you love to be your choice. You know it inwardly. And that's how you continue. And nothing can change that, no matter what brain conjures up. That's not the way you've been given the gender that you are by thoughts and the power of suggestion. And that's not the way that any thought or any suggestion or images can have any threat on your gender, ever whatsoever. If you understand all these things, then you just deal with your life and diss this and ignore the nonsense and go on about your life until it eventually learns by your behavior that it's not going to be entertained, and then the caudate nucleus that is malfunctioning to shut down the intrusive thoughts starts resetting, getting back to its regular function because of the way you have been treating these thoughts by ignoring them and then creating neuroplasticity and then kicking back to what your actions or your behavior and your wants and your understanding and who you are is coordinated with the function of the brain and behavior of the brain. All right. Now let's move on to Teboho. I need information on you first. Age, gender, where you're tuning in from. And I have all that question that you have answered in the 2 playlists that I mentioned. So it's all there. Elijah says 29 years old. Thank you for that, Elijah. I believe I answered your question, didn't I? Elijah says, 29-year-old male, hello, is it normal that I have that HOCD thought like when I have been 14 years old but not that often, and intrusive, but it has kicked me hard in my 25? Is that, yeah, intrusive thoughts are pretty much now normal. I mean, first of all, remember guys, Intrusive thought is not specific to one or two person. Every single human being on earth has had, will have, if they haven't yet, intrusive thoughts. We all have it. The difference is when the system works automatically, functions properly, the intrusive thoughts, when they show up, of all kinds, it could be any kind of intrusive thoughts. Amazing stuff, disgusting stuff. I mean, pedophilia, OCD. It happens to anybody, but nobody acts on it. These are thoughts. And any other kind of OCD, intrusive thoughts. These intrusive thoughts, every human being on earth has it. But when the brain is functioning normally, once it shows up in the head, the idea, the suggestion, or the image, it says, "Ooh, what's that?" And then it automatically shuts down by a part of the brain which is in the striatum area, which involves that part that is called caudate nucleus. But when that malfunctions, that intrusive thought lingers. When it lingers, you think because it's lingered, it means something. And you think you got to respond to it. Then you go get engaged in discussions and data hunting, why such a thought is here. There's no why. This is how the brain functions for every human being on earth. All it is that your automatic shut-off valve, shut-off system is not working, malfunctioning, because the brain is an electrical system. And electrical systems, always something goes haywire. It takes some extra neurons firing inappropriately, or some magnetic field, or we are constantly being bombarded with all kinds of things. And then, on top of all these, intrusive thoughts are even on different types of them, are even more these days, because of the amount of information that is now being floating all around us, on TV, on internet, on publications, on billboards, all kinds of things that is unnecessary for our daily lives, but we are subjected to these information that as unnecessary and irrelevant it is to you, but they are floating around. And look, brain is designed to capture all these information and keep them in the consciousness. And brain is a machine mandated and designed for making thoughts. And through making thoughts, it protects us by alarming us, bringing information. And so when so much unnecessary information is out there, brain doesn't discriminate. It takes all that information in and starts making thoughts with them, just to create all kind of scenarios that it could alarm you and aware you, make you conscious of such dangers, if it's contrary to your interests and so on. It creates all those thoughts because its job is to create all those thoughts. And because there's so much unnecessary information floating around, everybody's personal lifestyle, personal inclinations, sexual habits, all of these are now on public domains, discussed on TV and everywhere. Too much unnecessary information is out there, which it wasn't out there 50 years ago, 100 years ago. Therefore, people's type of intrusive thoughts were pretty much different. Different levels of intrusions and topics. But with all that other kind of information that being floating around is constantly bombarding and bringing people's attention to these. And the brain is a very specific machine that picks up anything that is out there in order to have information to protect you. And then it goes creates all these intrusive thoughts because its job is to make thoughts. And then if some OCD malfunctioning happening, then these intrusive thoughts linger, and that's all right. Then you learn how to deal with it. But you must understand that intrusive thoughts have nothing to do with you. They're thoughts, images, suggestions. They're not actions. You're the boss. You're the only person that can decide any intrusive thoughts becomes actuality, reality, chosen to pay attention to or not. That's the power that you have. So while we are subjected to this unfairness of amount of information and manipulation of information into our psyche, but we also ultimately are in charge and empowered and at the position of top power to allow or not allow, to choose or not choose any of these intrusive thoughts ever have a chance to become any reality, actuality, or turn into any act or actions. Simple. So, in other words, totally irrelevant and cannot be threatening you in any way, shape, or form because you are ultimately the boss and the selector, the one who makes the choices. So, on that note, you see how powerful you are and you can handle these sort of things. Okay, I think Monkia, whatever, is constantly putting too much information here. Oh no, I guess that's... All right. And Zedkill says, Mehran, do you know about Jordan Peterson, Carl Jung, etc.? I know who Jordan Peterson and Carl Jung are. Carl Jung is just a very famous icon in the psychology and the science of psychology, like Freud, Carl Jung, and all that. And it says, if yes, what are your thoughts on them and their work? If not, never mind. It says, oh, and I hope you watch the Mandalorian season 2 by now. Listen, talking about Jordan Peterson and Freud and Carl Jung and all that, it's not a 2-minute thing. Definitely Carl Jung and Freud. And Mr. Peterson, everybody knows it. There's no need for me to introduce him. And so in regards to Mandalorian, I've been so busy and I've been meaning to watch both of them. I've missed the first one, which was last week, and then the second one that just released, I think was last night. And as soon as I get things sorted out, definitely there are a couple of things I want to watch. One is Mandalorian to catch up with it. And the other one is the new movie that the old Borat has made. I want to see that, and I'm up for that laugh. His humor, resonates with me and with many people so easily. So I'm looking forward to have a chance to see that one. And Sean Duran says, it was me whose question you answered relating to anxiety sensation in my head. Thank you. I've just tried the breathing exercise you demonstrated, and I will do mindfulness meditation and change breathing. Okay, good. Yeah, and I wanted to add to that, which I forgot. Make sure, guys, to incorporate meditation into your life, in your daily life. 5 minutes. For heaven's sake, it takes you longer to make tea. 5 minutes. I mean, you surf the internet for God knows how many hours a day for useless stuff. We all do, right? 5 minutes. And I have the meditation already discussed and shared with you, and guided meditation. So all you have to do is just click on meditation on my channel, and you'll have a bunch of videos there, and you just can do the meditation. You can do it for 30 minutes, but you can do it for 5 minutes and then do another 5 minutes whenever you want, or 2 minutes. I don't care. Just get that rhythm going. That is very important because it increases the many neurotransmitters, GABA neurotransmitters by 30%, serotonin, melatonin, but I don't know, 200% or something like that. I don't remember the numbers now. I have a video on it which clearly explains what percentage and all that and what it does. And then reduces the cortisol level by 50%. Half an hour meditation a day. And then increases the growth hormones, which is amazing, yeah? And oxytocin, and lots of neurotransmitters are created, secreted by the brain naturally, just by meditation. I mean, what else do you guys want? You're always waiting for something happens to get some medication? Why? This is the pharmacy up here. Encourage it to give you the product that you want. Teach it, train it. And if you do meditation constantly, it rewires itself, and through neuroplasticity becomes very good at enjoying meditation and then give you all the benefits of it. Nowadays, this thing has been going on for thousands and thousands of years, the meditation and benefits of it, the power that it brings. Now the scientists have been able to prove it. Now they exactly know what kind of neurotransmitters are being created when you meditate and what good those neurotransmitters are. So, I mean, if some people are just thick enough that they're waiting for science to catch up with what was known from 1,000 years ago, fine, here it is. Even science now says meditation is important, vital thing for your life. No different than breathing. But breathing is involuntarily, you get it whether you want it or not. Meditation, you got to train your brain. This brain is something that can help you succeed and go to the moon, and it's the same thing that can bring you down and bury you 6 feet under the ground if you don't train it, if you don't know how to teach it to behave, and if you don't understand its malfunctions, to ignore. Otherwise, you become the slave of this damn thing here instead of being the boss of it. So train it well, understand it well, and use it to your advantage. It's a tool. Train it. All right. T says, I'm 20-year-old male and from the UK. Okay, let's go back to T. T says, I'm 20-year-old male from UK. Would it be possible if you could answer my question, please? Yes, sure. Where is your question? Your questions are no longer here. It's been retracted. All of them. Or did I answer it? All right. Let's see what we have here. So Aman says, I'm getting afraid by the thought of having a relationship with any girl, as I feel I'll never get attracted. Why? That's bullshit. As because I'm not getting now and this time. So whenever there's a thought of having a relationship with girls, it gives me sheer anxiety and absolutely no attraction. Well, it wasn't like this, so obviously you're giving into thoughts rather than focusing on you. Somehow most people are duped to think that their brain is them, so whatever brain says, it gets a priority to what they say. Look, in many of my videos, I've shown you clearly where is you and what is thoughts. And unless you watch those, I won't be able to describe it all here. Those videos are elaborate, and I've discussed it clearly for you to understand what is thought, what is brain, and that you're separated from thought and brain. So if you're separated from thought and brain, you can't allow or believe what brain conjures up as who you are, what you're interested or not. You know that, decide that, and you know what's a preference for you. Now, Helen says, "Hi Miran, I'm female, 35, New York. I love your channel. I broke up with my boyfriend recently because I couldn't trust him. He made me the crazy one who couldn't trust him. After our breakup, I found out all these lies that I was suspicious of were all true. I truly loved him still, and I feel so betrayed." You can't be loving someone that you have found out that is true that he was a liar and betrayed you. So what you really love there is the fact that it was you who loved him, and you don't want to go against yourself, and you constantly want to stay on the fact that, yeah, he was good. Why? What's the deal here? Why do you continue thinking that someone that you loved and you know wasn't good, but you should continue thinking that I love? Because you just said here, you said that I love your channel. Okay, it says I recently broke up with my boyfriend because I couldn't trust him, and he made me the crazy one. Who couldn't trust him. After our breakup, I found out that all these lies that I was suspicious of were all true. I truly loved him still. Why? How can you love someone that you know has not been true to you? So it is you who you love, not him. The fact that you are willing to pay any price to be loved, even by a guy that has actually cheated you. So is it that you love him, or you love you? That you want you to be loved, even if it's loved by some asshole who actually did not comply on his part. So you focus on that. You don't love him because it's illogical to love someone who's betraying you. So what is it that makes you think you love him? You love you so much that you want so much to be loved, and that's the guy that you think could have, or at one time did, or seemed like he loves you, and that illusion you want to continue it, so you say, I still love him. Why do you have to love him? What for? What are you afraid of if you don't love him? What are you afraid of if you don't love him? What happens if you don't love him? You destroy what you have created of him in your mind, which is a comfort zone, which gives you assurance that you love someone because you want to love someone, and you have created that person to be the one that you love. And if you agree that he's no good, then that means you got to kick that image out, so you don't have anyone in your mind to love, and you want to love someone. So you're keeping that person as still, if he's qualified, even after you know that the guy was an asshole. Or, I know you're going to be very sad to hear somebody say that the guy was an asshole, because you're romantic and you want things to be perfect, and you seem that you got to keep that image of him up so it can be considered that your life is perfect because you had someone who was good and you loved. And you can't face the fact that we all make mistakes. We love someone and figure out that it wasn't worth it. We made a mistake. The sooner you're faced with that, the sooner you'll be free, that you stop thinking that a guy who was really good and still is good, even though he has cheated on you or he has been a liar. You got to demote him to what he is, not what you have made out of him in your consciousness, in your mind. You got to call him for what it is. He's an idiot. So you don't want to love an idiot. You can't love an idiot because he's an asshole. He broke the bond. So why should you? Why do you want to love him? Remember what I said. It's not him you love. It's you love, and you don't want to disappoint yourself. So you keep him there as a symbol so you can feel that you're perfect because you didn't make a mistake. I don't know if it makes sense what I'm saying or not, but in the short time that we have, it better make sense. Helen says all these lies that I was suspicious. Okay, we got that. That I was suspicious of truly love him. Still, and then I feel so betrayed. What do I do about all these feelings that our 2 years together was all a lie? Who cares? If it wasn't a lie, well, who says it was a lie? You can't suddenly, because the guy became an asshole now, say all the 2 years he was an asshole. No, people evolve. It's a dynamic life. At the beginning, the guy probably loved you or lusted for you or however you felt about him and so on and so forth. Then you guys start getting to know each other's consciousness and you see, well, it doesn't worth a shit. There's no bond there. And the longer it took, the more it became clear until to the point that you couldn't trust him anymore. So at the beginning, it was something. But so is at the beginning of everything. But the beginning of some relationship being good doesn't mean when it breaks down, then it was always a good thing that broke down. Or to begin with, it was all a lie. No, it changes. It was a relationship. Then he started, being not as dedicated as he was at the beginning because he got what he wanted. And then eventually he didn't have the right character to be relied on. And then you could see the changes in the relationship and so on and so forth. So what? That's what life is all about. You are trying to create a permanent, you're disappointed because a temporary situation did not turn to be permanent. That's your problem. You expect a relationship because there's emotions and compatibility involved, at least at the beginning or at some point in there. You want that to be permanent. And when it doesn't become permanent and breaks down, you're disappointed. Because instead of expecting a relationship to be whatever it is, you give it a status of this would be good if it is permanent, and all your lifetime, all duration of the relationship, you're focusing to make it permanent instead of enjoying it for what it is. And if it breaks down, fuck it. It breaks down. It's not your fault. You've done your best. But you get disappointed because it wasn't permanent. You're not disappointed because the relationship is not there, because you say the relationship wasn't going towards a good direction and it wasn't of good quality, so actually it should have broken up. But you still are disappointed because you wanted it to be permanent and it didn't happen. You can't deny the fact that it wasn't a good relationship. It had to break down. But you want to deny the fact that nothing is permanent as far as relationships are concerned. But yet you wanted it to be permanent. So your disappointment is the fact that it wasn't permanent. You didn't find certainty in life. That's the whole thing. We human beings, from a million years ago, we're looking for certainty because everything has been uncertain since a million years ago. And we've been trying to create that psychological security. In the old times, the minute you turn around, a sound comes, oh, an animal is about to eat me. So some other clan is going to come and take all the chickens you had a million years ago, or take your wife, or take your shelter, or whatever. So all these anxieties were always there. So we have always been trying to create a certainty because we've been experiencing all these dangers and anxieties. That's why we have anxiety and depression still following us. At any corner, it can click in because that is worked into our gene, anxiety. And that's the roots of many of these uncomfortable feelings and things, including OCDs and HOCDs and pedophile OCDs and any kind of OCD. And these are all fears of things that you don't want and therefore you're focused on because the brain's job is to try to protect you. So all these put together brings about this desire for certainty and permanence. And then it leaches into your relationship too. So when it breaks down, you really can't deny that it wasn't a good relationship with the guy, But your disappointment is not because it broke down, because you know it wasn't going to the right direction, the quality wasn't good. Your disappointment is because it wasn't turned into permanence, to bring that psychological security, to bring about a bit of a certainty, which from a million years ago we've been in pursuit of. You think by a permanent situation you will abolish anxiety. But anxiety is part of our being. You know? That's how we are. It's a sense of our, I don't know, alertness. But it's too much and stayed with us. And if we come from a clan of the million years ago that we've been really involved in all kinds of wars and all that, we have a little bit more anxiety than the others have. So, bottom line is that you're trying to create a permanent situation out of your relationship in the whole venue that it's based on impermanence. Life itself is impermanent, yet in it you want to create a permanent situation. And if you can't, you have anxiety and depression. Well, why don't you face the fact that any relationship and situations that are outside of you can and are impermanent. Expecting and understanding that will help you not to be so disappointed when something goes out of what you're genetically pursuing, which is certainty. And that could be of some help. So he says, I keep ruminating. He slept early that time. Did he really sleep early? Oh, no, just give it up. Don't worry about it. One of the things that you guys do that is not good for you is data hunting, trying to understand the meaning of a thought. Thought, categorically, is stupid and meaningless, irrelevant. So no sense trying to bring any meaning to it. Don't try to give interpretations to intrusive thoughts. Just don't. Just say, I don't care. I don't need to know. All I care is what I'm trying to achieve. All I care is what I want to be. All I care is what I like. I don't care about what suggestion thought makes. Simple. All right. T says, why do we get these doubts even though deep down we know the truth about our orientation? Yeah, I just explained it. Anxiety. And how do I stop? And the fact that you haven't separated thoughts, brain, and you. So I guess I answered that question already. How do I stop engaging with these thoughts? I'm a 20-year-old male from the UK. T, I've answered all that just right now in this live stream, and also you can refer to the two, and I should say, wonderful playlists, which has all kinds of information about interpretation and meanings and why these thoughts and why the logic of this, why the illogic of that, and then another playlist which talks about the generality of understanding, the separation of thought, consciousness, me, you, whatever, just separating the brain, you, and thoughts. And that will help you to be clear what intrusive thoughts are, and that you're not alone. Every one of us have intrusive thoughts, and the ignoring it and not paying attention and allowing it to establish or determine who you are, what you are, is the key, because it knows nothing. Thought, brain, does not know more about you than you tell it that you know about you. Brain, the way it is sophisticated now, the ability to speak, the ability to think, was added to us 40,000 years ago. We were functioning perfectly like an animal instinctively, and we only had the stem brain, which was limited to instinctive reactions, and we lived forever, for a million years, like animals. Slept, hunt, had sex, orientation was all clear, all hardwired, no thoughts interfering, no suggestion, no images of any kind, and we were very clear in everything. Sleeping arrangement, our genders, our hunting, food, drink, what we needed, what we had to do, what we didn't, escaping from dangers and all that. It was all instinctive and no interference. Why? Because there was no thinking involved. Thoughts are the roots of problems. And the fact of not falling for thoughts is the key to salvation and freedom. Freedom of mind, freedom of thoughts. But for that, you got to understand the separation between brain, thought, and you. And then you can see you're the boss, you're the owner of all these equipments and apparatus, not the subject to the bullshit and the intrusive thoughts that it creates, because it's its job. It creates thoughts. There's no meaning, and they're all irrelevant and meaningless to you. But they're annoying, I understand that. So you got to retrain the brain. Yeah, it's good. Elijah. Jeffrey says, I heard from my ex-girlfriend today and I immediately felt like a loser. How can I not feel like a loser? Why should you feel like a loser? You have a choice. You can decide that you're a loser, or you can decide you're not a loser. So who's mine? You're trying to prove to a thought that suggests that you're a loser, that you're not a loser, or accepting that you're a loser. What does this fucking thought come from? What is its credentials? Its credential is coming from brain. What is the brain's credential? What? The brain is a machine, material process. Neurons make thoughts. Who are you trying to prove anything to? You're the you, and you're trying to prove yourself who you are, that you're loser or not loser, or whatever it is about yourself, to a thought, a suggestion. That is being a loser. To actually entertain a fucking thought to dominate, to tell you who you are, what you are, loser, not loser, what gender you are, what you are. That's the problem of life. If you can handle that and understand that you shouldn't pay attention to some nonsense, an apparatus, a suggestion, a thought that itself doesn't exist, but it wants to make your existence dependent on what it thinks. Fuck. Now, Helen says, thanks, Mehran. Yes, I wanted it to be permanently, as you said, as you stated. You're so smart. Well, of course, that's why I get the big bucks. Don't you see? Millions of dollars and subscribers are joining our channel because I'm so fucking smart. Anyhow, I'm not smart. No smarter than any of you. It's just that done research and have a weird brain who can understand and enjoy understanding these sort of things. And it says, didn't think that way, cause the goal here was marriage. Yes, you were focused on your desire. That's why you couldn't even see anything, because the desire, which goes hand to hand to pleasure, it's a hope of pleasure. Through desire you get pleasure, which your whole life is based on, pain and pleasure. And that hope, possibility of pleasure, pull the wool over your eyes to allow you to see. Just because you want some end, that doesn't mean any mean to that end is justified. You wanted to get married, and just any Joe Blow, just because you've spent 2 years, what does that mean? It's not a competition. I gotta get that stage, then I'm okay, I got it made. No. You got it made if you understand that you're not a slave of your thoughts. Then you can be happy every day. Every day. It's a fucking thought that creates all these questions, and we have been programmed to answer questions. The question is posed, I'm supposed to answer it. Unless I answer some fictitious, non-existent bullshit words, I don't feel good. Why? Because that's a slavery. Slavery to your brain, to thoughts. But when I understand where thoughts come from, you can see they're just poof. They're worth nothing. You are everything, not thoughts. And you existed way before thoughts, abilities, and its feature was bestowed upon you 40,000 years ago. So what were you doing before 40,000 years ago? Didn't exist? We all did. And we didn't have intrusive thoughts. Why? Because we didn't have thoughts. Instinct. So now I want you to go back to focus on your instinct. Your instinct says very clearly about your gender, about your inclinations, about your preferences, about what you want to do in life, about what this was good or was not good at a relationship. All of that is clear to you when you simply focus on you, the human that you are, not on the production of the faculties and equipments and tools and apparatuses that has been added on you. And now you're subject to the production and activities of those apparatus, namely brain and thoughts, which major part of it is intrusive. Free yourself from that bullshit. All right. And this is my goal in life, marriage. For us, we met the parents and was looking for rings. Yeah, okay. The guy who met parents and looking for rings and then got with somebody else is a real gem. You know what I mean. So and it says my goal is life is being married. My goal in life is being married and living happily ever after. I'm the only one not married amongst friends. So we think those friends who got married, they've got trophy being shoved up their asses every time they come home? No. I didn't mean it literally. I mean like giving a prize of winning something. No, they've got so much problems and they probably sit and say, oh God, I wish this wasn't like the way it is. But you think you're supposed to be part of the crowd. And you've been conditioned to think marriage is the ultimate purpose of life. No, it's one of the purposes. That's all. Not the only. If it was, then why would the people who get married get divorced? They got what they wanted, right? So why do they get divorced? Because then when things are not in good quality, they feel that the ultimate purpose of their life at the moment would be to divorce, to free themselves. So freedom. And that freedom really explains freedom of mind. But when you focus on desire and how you've been conditioned in your consciousness through the societies and countries and traditions and the cultures that you've been raised in, marriage seems to be, oh, I'm one of the group. I want to have that role. I want to have that image that I've been imagining it since childhood. Get married. And then you're part of the adults that you're married. You've accomplished. Accomplishment is not limited to marriage. Marriage is maybe, in different cultures, and if that's what you want, one of the accomplishments of life. But you make it to be the whole thing, then when it doesn't work, you think you've lost the whole thing. So the problem is what you made out of that particular rest area, that particular summit, that particular goal. You made the marriage to be everything. So when it doesn't work, you think you've lost everything. Take that echelon away from it and make marriage to be a fragment of the successes or the things you want to accomplish in life. Then if it doesn't happen, only one fragment hasn't happened, but your whole life is balanced and perfectly stable and fulfilling. Helen says, I feel like I failed again and more anxious. No, you didn't fail. In fact, you took a step toward, success. Otherwise, that failure that you thought it was a success, the marriage, would have turned out to be a failure for a long time. This, if you think this was failure, it was maybe for a month? But if you had not caused this failure, let's say, you decided on this failure, and you would have gone through the marriage, and the marriage not being of good character, good quality, since it broke up right now, it would have ended up being a hell for longer than 2 months. And you call that success? That would be the failure, not the fact that you stopped a long-term failure by a short-term pain. And she says, how will I meet someone in this pandemic? And my ex keeps spreading wrong rumors about me. Well, if he's spreading rumors, that means he's agitated and he's not confident about himself, because he needs to say shit in order to justify what he's done, because he knows he's fucked up, and he knows people are thinking about him the way he's trying to portray you. And Helen says, I shouldn't have, since he was always the victim in his past relationship and said shit about his exes. There you go. Now I became one of them. I cannot comfort him. These are the people who always play victim forever, no matter where they go. So don't worry. He's probably going to fail in attracting that woman's attention after a while either, unless that woman is a real loser. So at least you weren't a loser because you didn't fall for that shit. Now I became one of them. I cannot confront him, but I don't want people to judge me. Thanks to you. No, listen, who cares people judge you or not? Who are they? They've got shit to clean out their own asses, and you think that their opinion and judgment is valid? If they knew anything, they would be able to do something for their own lives. Or you think their lives are perfect because they're in the position to judge you. Everybody judges everybody. It doesn't mean anybody is better than the other one. Maybe they are, maybe not. But in your case, you lucked out. So go celebrate and count your stars, and don't give in to the fact that, I wanted this desire to turn into reality and it didn't, so therefore I'm a loser. No, you're a winner because you didn't fall for shit. You saved yourself by the bell. That's how you should think of it. Helen. J. Ahern says, can you talk about... No, I can't talk about anything unless I know a little bit about you. Gender, age, where you're tuning in from. Remember, guys, we need that protocol observed. I don't understand your question anyhow, J. Ahern. It doesn't make sense. Sunny Boy says, hey, female 17, Italy, come stai? Buongiorno or buonasera? And Jeffrey says, I forgot the protocol. Yes, that's you did, didn't you? Jeff, male 32, Toronto. Thank you for that. And Jeffrey says, I'm not a loser. There you go. That's my boy. Jeffrey says, when I was with that girl, she would always jokingly call me loser. Yeah, don't. There was a word that was a humble word and a friendly word, but was culturally, in Persian culture, they want to be very pleasant to each other and humble. It's an expression. It doesn't have a real meaning, but it's an expression that says, I'm your servant. It's a certain expression. It doesn't have an exact translation to English. That's why I don't have the right word for it. But it was an expression of humbleness and putting the friend above yourself and being pleasant and friendly. But nevertheless, it had the connotation of what the word meant, even though it wasn't meant in the actuality of the meaning of the word, but it had the connotation because it was used to represent uh, friendliness and humbleness and a value of the friend and all that, so forth, and putting the friend ahead. But nevertheless, again, it had a meaning, and the meaning was actually demeaning to the one who was uttering it. That whole demeaning purpose was that I demean myself in presence of yours because I find you to be higher than me. As a friendship, as a symbol of respect, a friendly respect. And it was a slang that was being used all through the day by many. And I hardly ever used it. I was just not raised that way. But then at a certain age, since older friends kept saying that, then I felt like it's impolite if I don't reciprocate and use the same slang to express my gratitude or humbleness or friendship or whatever the culture dictates in such a way to express respect. And one day I said that on phone to a friend, and my father heard it. Or was it I said that as a, friendly, with no any meaning to my father? And I don't know if you guys know about my father. My father was very educated. He spoke 6 languages. He had a PhD in law, and I learned a lot from him. And he was also a capable politician and a person that I looked up to all my life and learned a lot from. His picture is on my wall. He's gone. He heard me and he said, "Son, never say that word again, because when you say that word, inwardly is going to change your subconscious, is going to change your conscious about that you are not up to par, you are less, that you take the position of the meaning of that word, that you are a servant, that you're a subordinate. That word, the meaning of it, if it's uttered continuously, friendly or otherwise, it affects your psyche, and you start thinking of yourself in a demeaning way." Never, I repeated that. By mistake here and there I did, but I have become conscious of it, and it's true. So what you utter, and utter a lot of it, inwardly is going to affect you. So better use positive words, powerful words, loving words, appreciative, respectful words toward yourself when you think about yourself, and when you're in your interaction with other people. When you constantly use such words, it affects you, and without you noticing it, you bring yourself into a lower position to the others, and you become subject to accepting other people's opinions and judgments as more important than yours, and as if they value anything. And you shouldn't do that, because that starts with you and how you treat yourself. So, Jeff, don't play with that word. Don't call yourself loser ever. I don't like that, and you shouldn't like it. And the reasons for that. All right. Sunny Boy, female, 17, Italy, says, "I'm an HOCD sufferer. I recently started talking to my ex again, and I fear I don't like him. I want to be with him, but I think my OCD is making me uninterested. Is this normal?" Yeah, when you're going through HOCD, you can't be focusing on who you are, what you are, when something is constantly after you and you're running away from it, and yet you want to focus on, enjoyment of the scenery. Well, you're running away because there's something else distracting you, and and endangering you and trying to attack you, and you're trying to deal with that. So your focus would not be on how beautiful the scenery is. The same thing here. Your HOCD that bothers you and you're distracted by it, you're trying to figure out a meaning of it, which is all meaningless and irrelevant, but somehow you're entertaining that nonsense, intrusive thoughts, which we've discussed it in this channel quite elaborately. And while you're dealing with that, you expect to actually have focus on who naturally you are and have always been and want to be and love to be. You won't be focused on that. It's no different than, you're swimming and the alligator is after you and jaws open, is about to take a bite out of your butt, and you're thinking, oh, I don't feel sexual right now. Well, damn. Obviously, you're running for your life. And that is the situation that you're. The anxiety doesn't allow you to feel what your nature is because you've been distracted by the bullshit of the brain. So simply use the tactics that we've talked about on this channel today, and also maybe on my playlist, which you know where they are, right? I'm sure you've watched them. Intrusive OCD, HOCD short videos. That is the more important part of discussions about this, because it talks about understanding the separation between thoughts, brain, and you. And that's where the key is. But also I have the other, which is in detail data hunting, interpretations of thoughts and so on, for people who need to hear that, which is really the topic of the content and topic of the thought is irrelevant. The fact that the whole thing is meaningless and irrelevant is important, not the meaning of the thought that showed up or popped up, or the images or suggestions. So intrusive, transient, OCD, HOCD, negative thoughts is another playlist. But the first one is the one that focuses on the nitty-gritties of the mechanism of the brain, and that's the mind and you, and that's where you want to focus on. So Jeffrey said, thanks for your help, Mehran. You're quite welcome. T says, I love girls and that has never been questioned. I want to get married and have kids, and that's it. I hope this all stops. Look, guys, whether the thought stops or not doesn't matter. Why? Because you have the choice. You make the selection, not thought. Thought can come up, whatever. The me, knows what you are, what you've always been, what you want to be, what you love to be. That's your life. Nobody can take that away from you. Thoughts or uttering of other people. So relax about it. Just ignore the damn thing. It's like 100 people lining up in the street, and every step you make, they call you whatever name. Who gives a shit? That doesn't change you. You know? Would it change you if you're walking in the street and 2,000 people lining up, and every step you take, they say, Martian, Martian, you're Martian, you come from Mars, you're alien. Doesn't make you an alien, doesn't make you Martian. What if they chant elephant, giraffe, tiger? Makes no difference. So if they call you by a gender that you're not, or your thought, your brain calls you by a gender that you're not, it's the same as if the brain calls you elephant, tiger, giraffe, or Martian, alien. Doesn't make any change. So why is it that suddenly if it called you a gender that you're not, opposite of what you are, suddenly, oh, I might be changing that? Why? If it had the power to turn you to elephant, then it would also have the power to turn you in some other gender that you're not. It doesn't. Thought was never involved when you were being created in the wombs of your mother and the gender that you've been born as. And thought can never have anything to do with any change whatsoever, any threat to you whatsoever. Nothing can. It's a chromosomes, for heaven's sake. And this is thoughts. Two different things. It can't change your biology. If that was the case, maybe I would have to have another second nose here. or something else for that matter. And that's not going to happen, does it? Maybe third arm or whatever. All right. So let's get it under the grips. I mean, get the whatever. And burrito sushi. Oh, okay. Japanese Mexican descent. Burrito sushi. I just want to say something. I watched your videos back in 2017-ish, and I am glad I did. I was going through a breakup of 3 years, and because of the help in your video, I was able to pick myself up and keep moving. I saw you were live, and I came by to say thanks. I'm at such a better place. I really appreciate your videos. Thank you. You're quite welcome, dear. I'm delighted that you shared this with us, and I'm delighted that you're in a happy place in your life. And I salute the fact that you spend time on yourself and learn and educate yourself and discovered that nothing can decide for your destiny and direction that you want to take on this journey of life, but you and your selections. So, more powers to you. I'm proud of you. Good for you. Sonny says, ciao, buonasera, buonasera. And Sonny says, thank you. And Sonny says, that makes sense. Yeah, all right. Isabellissima. Isabellissima says, you helped me through a horrible breakup. I sent a heartbroken person to see you, and it was a great help to him. Thank you. Oh, you're quite welcome. I wonder who that was. That was a Skype discussion? Your friend made an appointment and we discussed his situation on Skype? Or was it a comment that I was able to help him on that? Isabellissima, please tell me the protocol, gender, age, and where you're tuning in from. Isabellissima says, the example you did with the rocks on the beach was life transforming. Oh, yes, the pebbles. Yeah, that's a... that video is viewed, I don't know, 350,000 times. And although we are not visible on YouTube, but that particular one has found its way through the sea of YouTube channels and viewers and has presented itself. So that's maybe it would help us to be better known. And Isabellissima says, we just watched your videos. Ah, I see. Okay, good. Delighted. And thank you for sharing that. And Isabellissima says, I'm female, 42, and from Texas. Oh, you have an Italian name or Italian sounding name, and it's a very unique and innovative way of putting it. It's a beautiful word, Isabellissima. You know, I guess, I don't know if it has the Italian roots or not, or that was your inspiration or not, but job well done. So let's see who else we have here that we haven't responded to. Well, guys, it looks like I've answered all the questions and everyone's question here. It's 2 hours and 33 minutes and 18 seconds. I think we've done good. We have 20 people here, and that was a very good, successful live streaming, because we started with like something 22 or 20 something, and we still have 20 at the hour 2.5. Tonight, I might have another live stream, because I usually on Saturdays have a live stream during the day at 1 p.m. Vancouver time for North America and Europe, because that's the time zone that it hits. And then 9 p.m. Vancouver time, Saturdays, I try to have one for 1 or 2 hours, because at 11 o'clock I should be quiet, because my neighbor gets a little bit, I mean, the wall is thin, and so we want to accommodate her. So we start at 9, and that would, be a good timing for the time zones such as Australia, Hong Kong, New Zealand, Philippines, India, Pakistan, Iran, and UAEs and other places. So you're welcome to join me if that accommodates your time zone. Otherwise, I look forward to talk to you again. And remember, if I don't get enough registration today, at least 10 people, then we will not have the Zoom limited number 10 people live stream tomorrow. And if somebody does send it and we don't get 10, then I push it to the next week until we reserve it. We keep in reserve until we have 10 people, and then we'll send the link and we'll have that Zoom live stream for those limited number of people. And I've discussed it, how you can register for it. You can go through your PayPal and send $25 if you're a member and $50 if you're not a member of the channel, and then through the PayPal, and then to my email that I put the email up here already, and I put it again in case somebody does want to have it, md007m@gmail.com. And so this would be the email that you can send the registration fee. And if you have 10 people, we'll have it. If we don't, we push it for the next time until we have 10 people, then we'll have the first one. So I look forward to talk to you again next week, if not tomorrow. In the meantime, be good to yourself, to the others, and I love you all, and thank you for being here, giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.